Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most shocking updates from the battlefield, a moment when Ukraine unleashed a deadly triple strike that left nothing standing. This was not just another attack in the ongoing war, but a strike so precise and devastating that it has captured the world's attention. What makes it even more significant is the timing, the preparation, and the scale of destruction that followed. Ukraine has been adapting its tactics, focusing on hitting not just military positions, but also the critical infrastructure that supports the Russian war machine. This triple strike was an example of that new strategy in action. By targeting multiple locations at once, Ukraine maximized the shock factor, disrupted Russian defenses, and created chaos on the ground. This wasn't random. It was carefully planned and executed with precision, showing just how far Ukraine's capabilities have come since the early days of the war. Reports suggest that the first wave of the strike hit a key Russian command center. This location was believed to be coordinating troop movements and logistics in the region. By taking it out in one swift attack, Ukraine sent a clear message: no place is safe. The strike not only destroyed the physical structure, but also cut off communications, leaving Russian forces scrambling to regain control. It was a psychological blow as much as it was a tactical one. The second strike followed almost immediately, this time aimed at an ammunition depot. The explosion was massive, with fireballs lighting up the night sky and shock waves felt miles away. The destruction of such a stockpile means Russian troops in that area suddenly found themselves short on supplies, with weapons and ammunition that would have fueled weeks of fighting gone in an instant. The impact on morale cannot be underestimated. Soldiers on the front lines rely on steady resupply, and when that disappears, confidence in their command begins to break down. The third strike completed the deadly trio, targeting a convoy of armored vehicles that had been preparing to move closer to Ukrainian positions. This was perhaps the most visible part of the attack, as footage quickly spread online showing vehicles engulfed in flames, reduced to smoldering shells. With this move, Ukraine not only destroyed valuable equipment, but also sent a message to any advancing units: approach at your own risk. What made these strikes so effective was their synchronization. Instead of hitting one target and giving Russia time to regroup, Ukraine struck three at once, forcing the enemy to deal with multiple crises simultaneously. It showed a level of coordination and intelligence that surprised many analysts. Western support, in terms of advanced weaponry and intelligence sharing, has clearly played a role, but so too has Ukraine's ability to adapt quickly and make bold decisions under pressure. The aftermath was devastating. Satellite images showed entire facilities wiped off the map, blackened craters marking where the strikes landed. For Russia, this was more than a tactical setback. It was a reminder that their positions deep behind the front lines are vulnerable. Even fortified locations can be reached and destroyed in seconds. For Ukrainian civilians watching these events unfold, it was a moment of pride, proof that their armed forces could strike back hard against an invading army that once seemed unstoppable. However, such victories do not come without consequences. Russia responded with its own retaliatory strikes, targeting Ukrainian cities and infrastructure in an attempt to show strength. But the damage had already been done. The triple strike disrupted supply chains, delayed offensives, and weakened morale on the Russian side. It also signaled to the world that Ukraine is not only defending itself, but also taking the fight deep into enemy-held areas. This kind of operation changes the psychology of war. When soldiers know that their command posts, supply depots, and armored columns can be obliterated without warning, it introduces fear and hesitation. Armies rely on momentum and confidence, and when that is shaken, it becomes harder to advance. Ukraine has understood this well, turning the psychological aspect of warfare into a weapon as powerful as any missile. Observers have noted that this strike might also influence international support. Allies who provide weapons and intelligence see that their contributions are making a real difference on the ground. The success of such operations strengthens Ukraine's case for continued support, more advanced systems, and larger supplies of ammunition. It demonstrates that when given the tools, Ukraine can achieve remarkable results against a much larger opponent. For Russia, the losses were not only material, but symbolic. A command center destroyed means weakened leadership. An ammunition depot gone means weeks of resupply lost. An armored convoy reduced to ash means fewer options for offensives. These are not just isolated setbacks. They combine to slow down momentum, disrupt planning, and undermine confidence in the chain of command. Soldiers fight not just with weapons, but with belief, and when belief begins to falter, cracks appear. It is also worth noting that Ukraine's ability to carry out such a strike shows how much its military has evolved since 2022. Back then, many doubted whether Ukraine could resist at all. Today, it is not only resisting, but also striking with precision, using a combination of modern weapons, drones, and intelligence to punch far above its weight. This evolution is a testament to both resilience and learning under fire. The triple strike also serves as a warning for the future. If Ukraine can hit 3 major targets in one coordinated attack, what comes next? Will we see larger operations, striking multiple regions simultaneously? Will Ukraine continue to escalate with the help of longer-range systems? These questions weigh heavily on Russian planners, who now face the reality that no stronghold is safe. Meanwhile, ordinary Ukrainians see these victories as sparks of hope amid the hardship of war. Every successful strike is a reminder that the fight is not in vain, that the sacrifices being made daily are pushing the invaders back step by step. War is never just about land. It is about morale, about belief in eventual victory. And this deadly triple strike gave the people of Ukraine a powerful reason to keep believing. But war remains unpredictable. Russia is unlikely to let such a setback pass without escalation. More missile attacks on Ukrainian cities, more attempts to cut off energy supplies, and more propaganda to mask the losses are almost guaranteed. Yet no amount of retaliation can erase the fact that Ukraine delivered a devastating blow that showed the world its strength. As the war drags on, each operation like this one shifts the balance slightly. Ukraine has shown that with careful planning, good intelligence, and precise weapons, it can level the playing field against a much larger foe. This triple strike will be remembered as one of those moments when the tide seemed to shift, when the impossible became possible, and when the message was clear. Nothing was left standing. In the coming weeks, analysts will continue to study the details of how this operation was carried out, what weapons were used, and what lessons can be learned. But for now, the impact is undeniable. Ukraine's deadly triple strike has left a mark, not only on the battlefield but also on the minds of everyone watching this war. It showed destruction, yes, but also resilience, strategy, and an unbreakable will to fight back. And that is what makes this moment so important. It was not just about buildings destroyed or vehicles lost. It was about showing that Ukraine remains strong, determined, and capable of hitting back hard. In a war where every strike matters, this one will be remembered as a turning point, a deadly reminder that nothing is untouchable.